contractor can indeed lock an electrical room during construction work until substantial completion. There are several reasons for this practice, primarily revolving around safety, security, quality control, preventing delays, and even legal basis. Firstly, safety is paramount. Electrical rooms invariably contain high-voltage equipment and exposed wiring. These pose very real and significant potential hazards to unauthorized individuals. Locking the room effectively restricts access, ensuring that only qualified personnel properly trained and equipped can enter. Secondly, security is another key consideration. Electrical systems form the very backbone of a building's operation. They control lighting, power distribution, HVAC, and numerous other critical functions. Locking the room serves to prevent unauthorized access to this sensitive equipment, mitigating the risk of tampering, vandalism, or even theft. Thirdly, quality control is also an important factor. Until substantial completion, the electrical system might not be fully tested, commissioned, or fully operational. Locking the room ensures that only authorized personnel, such as electricians, engineers, or inspectors, can access the system for the purpose of inspection, testing, or making necessary adjustments. This helps to maintain the integrity of the system and prevent accidental damage. Fourthly, preventing delays is another benefit. Unauthorized access to the electrical room can lead to interruptions in the construction schedule. Imagine someone inadvertently tripping a breaker, disconnecting critical power to tools or equipment, or even damaging components. Locking the room minimizes these risks and helps to keep the project on track and within budget. Fifthly, there is a legal basis for locking electrical rooms. One important standard is National Fire Protection Association 70E, which is the standard for electrical safety in the workplace. This standard requires that electrical rooms be locked when they are not under the direct observation of qualified personnel. This requirement is designed to protect workers from electrical hazards. Local building codes may also include specific security measures for electrical rooms, potentially including requirements for locking. Finally, the construction contract itself may stipulate that the electrical room be locked during the construction phase. This is often included as a standard provision to protect the electrical system and ensure the safety of workers. Now, it's important to understand that there can be exceptions to this general rule. In certain instances, access to the electrical room may become absolutely necessary before substantial completion. Examples include 1. For emergency repairs or maintenance to critical equipment. 2. For inspections by authorized personnel, such as code officials, engineers, or insurance representatives. And 3. For the installation or testing of new equipment that is essential for the project's progress. In such cases, access should be granted, but only under very carefully controlled conditions and with appropriate safety precautions in place. This may involve escorting authorized personnel, providing them with personal protective equipment such as insulated gloves and safety glasses, and ensuring that a qualified electrician is present to oversee their activities. The contractor should establish a clear and well-defined procedure for locking and unlocking the electrical room. Firstly, they should designate specific authorized personnel who are responsible for granting and controlling access to the room. This may include the project manager, the lead electrician, or other qualified individuals. Secondly, they should maintain a detailed log of all access that is granted to the electrical room. This log should include the date, time, name of the person entering the room, and the reason for their access. This helps to track who has been in the room and when. Thirdly, clear and conspicuous signage should be posted indicating that the room is locked and access is restricted to authorized personnel only. This helps to deter unauthorized individuals from attempting to enter the room. Fourthly, the contractor should have a system in place to provide temporary access to authorized personnel as needed and under supervision. This might involve issuing temporary keys or access cards, or having a designated person unlock the room for them. The key here is that access is controlled and supervised to ensure safety and prevent any unauthorized activities. By implementing these procedures, the contractor can effectively balance the need to secure the electrical room with the need to provide access for legitimate purposes. This helps to ensure the safety of workers, protect the electrical system, and keep the project on schedule. It's essential to remember that electrical work is inherently dangerous and should only be performed by qualified and experienced individuals. Always follow all applicable safety regulations and procedures when working with electricity. The information presented here is for general informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. Always consult with qualified professionals for specific guidance on electrical safety and construction practices. Remember to always energize electrical equipment before working on it, wear appropriate personal protective equipment, and follow all applicable safety procedures. If you are not qualified to work on electrical equipment, do not attempt to do so. Call a qualified electrician instead. Electricity can be deadly, so it's always better to be safe than sorry. The electrical room is a critical area of any building, and it's essential to take steps to protect it from unauthorized access. By locking the room and following proper procedures, you can help to ensure the safety of workers, protect the electrical system, and keep the project on schedule. Always follow the National Electrical Code, or NEC, when installing or working on electrical systems. The NEC provides comprehensive guidelines for safe electrical installations. It's important to stay up to date on the latest version of the NEC, as it is updated every 3 years. The NEC covers a wide range of topics, including wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding, and equipment installation. By following the NEC, you can help to ensure that electrical systems are installed safely and correctly. Always use approved electrical equipment. Approved equipment has been tested and certified by a recognized testing laboratory, such as Underwriters Laboratories or Intertek. Approved equipment is designed to meet specific safety standards and is less likely to cause fires or electrical shocks. When purchasing electrical equipment, look for the mark of a recognized testing laboratory. This mark indicates that the equipment has been tested and certified to meet safety standards. Never overload electrical circuits. Overloading a circuit can cause the wires to overheat, which can lead to a fire. To avoid overloading a circuit, do not plug too many appliances or devices into the same circuit. If you are unsure whether a circuit is overloaded, consult with a qualified electrician. A qualified electrician can assess your electrical system and determine whether any circuits are overloaded. They can also recommend ways to correct any overloading problems. Always use ground fault circuit interrupters or GFCIs in wet locations. GFCIs are designed to protect people from electrical shock. They work by detecting small changes in the electrical current and shutting off the power to the circuit. GFCIs are required by code in wet locations such as bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor areas. If you do not have GFCIs in these locations, have them installed by a qualified electrician. Always inspect electrical cords and plugs for damage. Damaged cords and plugs can be a fire hazard or an electrical shock hazard. If you find any damaged cords or plugs, replace them immediately. Do not attempt to repair damaged cords or plugs yourself. Always unplug electrical appliances and devices when they are not in use. Unplugging appliances and devices when they are not in use can save energy and reduce the risk of fire. Even when appliances and devices are turned off, they can still draw power. Unplugging them eliminates the standby power consumption. Always keep electrical outlets and switches covered. Covering electrical outlets and switches can prevent children from sticking objects into them. Outlet and switch covers are inexpensive and easy to install. They can provide an important layer of safety in your home. Never use water to extinguish an electrical fire. Water is a conductor of electricity and can make an electrical fire worse. If you have an electrical fire, use a fire extinguisher that is rated for electrical fires. These fire extinguishers contain a non-conductive extinguishing agent that will not conduct electricity. Always call a qualified electrician for electrical repairs. The electrical repairs should only be performed by qualified electricians. Electricians have the training and experience to safely and correctly repair electrical systems. Do not attempt to repair electrical systems yourself unless you are a qualified electrician. Always follow all applicable safety regulations and procedures when working with electricity. Electricity can be deadly, so it's always important to follow all applicable safety regulations and procedures. These regulations and procedures are designed to protect people from electrical hazards. By following them, you can help to ensure your safety when working with electricity. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, is a comprehensive set of standards for electrical installations. It is updated every 3 years and covers a wide range of topics, including wiring methods of current protection, grounding, and equipment installation. The NEC is an important resource for electricians and other electrical professionals. It provides guidance on how to install electrical systems safely and correctly. The National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, is a non-profit organization that develops and publishes codes and standards related to fire and electrical safety. The NFPA's codes and standards are widely used in the United States and around the world. The NFPA also provides training and education programs on fire and electrical safety. These programs are designed to help people understand and prevent fires and electrical hazards. Underwriters Laboratories, or UL, is a global safety certification company. UL tests and certifies products to ensure that they meet safety standards. UL certification marks are widely recognized and respected. Products that bear the UL mark have been tested and certified to meet safety standards. Intertek is another global safety certification company. Intertek tests and certifies products to ensure that they meet safety standards. Intertek's certification marks are also widely recognized and respected. Products that bear the Intertek mark have been tested and certified to meet safety standards. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, is a federal agency that is responsible for workplace safety. OSHA sets and enforces standards for workplace safety. OSHA also provides training and education programs to help employers and employees understand and comply with safety regulations. OSHA's mission is to protect the safety and health of America's workers.